Hey guys, welcome to our blending lesson today. So before we get started, we're going to review all of the letter sounds that we've done so far this year. So when I say the letter, you go ahead and say the sound. Thank you so much for your participation. All right, so the letter O says what? Ah, ah. Thank you. And the letter C says what? Ka, ka, like camel. Thank you. And the letter S says s, s, like sun. The letter A says ah, like apple. The letter M says like map. The letter P says p, like piano. The letter T says t, like turtle. The letter R says like rose. The letter N says like nest. The letter I says like insect. The letter F says like fire. And we're going to do two new ones today. So that is the H card. So the H says what sound? H. And that is H, like hippo. And we're also going to be doing the D card, the D sound. So what does D say? D, like dolphin. All right, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so the first word, did, your turn, did. So that D says what? D. And that I says I. And that D says what? Duh. Okay, then we'll blend them together. Duh, I, duh, did. All right, next word. Hid, your turn. H, I, duh, hid. And what does H say? H. And I says I. And D says duh. Let's blend. H, I, duh, hid. And next word, hip, hip. H, I, p, hip. And that first sound, H. I says I. P says p. Let's blend. H, I, p, hip. Next word, dip, dip. Duh, I, p, dip. And so D, the first sound, will say duh. I says I. P says p. Let's blend those sounds together. Duh, I, p, dip. All right, next word, dad, dad. Duh, duh, dad. So D says what? Duh. Thank you. A says what? And D says duh. Let's blend those sounds together. Duh, duh, dad. Next word, sad, sad. S, duh, sad. What does S say? S. And A says And D says duh. Let's blend those. S, a, duh. Sad. Next word. Ham. Your turn. Ham. H, a, ham. All right, so what's that H stand for? H. And A says a. And M says Let's blend those sounds. H, a, ham. All right, next word. Him. Your turn. Him. H, I, him. And so what's the first letter going to be in him? That H. Thank you. I like how I see a lot of participation right now. So, I hear an I there. What letter should go there? That's right, M. So, him. Let's go ahead and try that one again. Him. All right, next word. An. Your turn. An. A. An. A says what? A. Let's do that in red. Silly Miss Porter. All right. And N says N. A. An. Next word. Ran. Your turn. Ran. A. Ran. So R says what? A says a. N says a. Ran. Fan. Fan. F, a, fan. F says f. And that A will say a, f, a, fa. And that N says Let's blend. F, a, fan. Next word. Dan. Dan. Da. A. Dan. Okay, so the word Dan is a name, so we're going to have to capitalize the first letter there. So that first sound was duh, duh. So we need a capital D because it's someone's name. And then a. That was an A. Duh, a. And then N says So let's blend. Duh, a, Dan. Next word. No, we're going to do a sentence. My bad. All right, so we'll do a sentence. So that letter, I, okay. So remember, at the beginning of a sentence, the letter is always capitalized. Here's one of our high frequency words. Now, our high frequency words, we can't always sound them out, so we just have to look at them and know them. So, S-E-E, that word is, go ahead and shout it out if you know it, C. C. Okay? H says, huh. I says, I, huh, I, he. And M says, huh, I, he, huh, I, him. All right, let's go ahead and we'll read our sentence. I see him. All right, your turn. I see him. So what is our sentence missing? It's missing punctuation. It's missing a period. Thank you. Every sentence has to begin with a capital and end with some kind of punctuation, in this case, a period. All right, so next sentence. This one's a little teeny tiny short one. So capital C says ka. A says a. N says n. Let's blend. Ka, a, n. Can. And D says duh. Okay, so what do you maybe know about this word already, just because it has a capital D there? Should we ever have capitals in the middle of a sentence? Probably not, unless it is someone's name. So this one is going to be a name. So A says a, duh, a. You might even be able to guess what the name is. N says n. Let's go ahead and blend that. Duh, a, n, Dan. All right. So here's our sentence. It's only a couple of words. Can Dan? So think about the way that I said that. Can Dan? So that would be a question. So we need to have a question mark at the end of our sentence, because this would have an answer. So if you're hanging out with someone and you say, oh, I can see him, and someone says, oh, well, can Dan see him? And then that would be, yes, Dan can see him, or no, Dan can't see him. So since it has an answer, it's going to have a question mark. All right, let's go ahead and read our blending board. All right, so did, duh, I, duh, did, hid, ha, I, duh, hid, hip, ha, I, pa, hip, dip, duh, I, pa, dip. I like how I see so many people moving their lips and so much participation right now. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Dad, duh, a, duh, dad. Sad, s, a, duh, sad. Ham, h, a, m, ham. Him, h, I, m, him. An, a, n, an. Ran, a, n, ran. Fan, f, a, n, fan. Dan, d, a, n, Dan. All right, wonderful. Thank you. So let's go ahead and read our sentence. My turn. I see him. Your turn. Thank you so much for your participation. Can Dan? Your turn. All right, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate all of the hard work you guys are doing and really trying to use your blending skills. Thanks so much. I'll see you later.